Oh, okay, here we go. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to another live about IELTS, right? So, today we're going to learn how to stop sounding basic in the IELTS test using three. Just a second, there is a problem. Okay, all right. Just fixing something here. Okay, so what are we saying? All right, so I was saying that today we're going to learn how to stop sounding basic in the IELTS test using three native-like grammar structures that Band 7 plus speakers use without thinking, okay? So these are small changes, but with a real big impact, okay? So let's move forward. Let me see my slides here. Okay, slides. Ooh, today's really hot here, I gotta say. All right, guys, so let's go. Speak smarter in IELTS with three native structures. So, first, if you don't know me, right? Actually, that's not me, but yeah. I'm Gisele Figueiredo, founder of Connect You Academy and creator of this channel, the Score Boost Formula. All right. So I've been helping students achieve breakthrough results such as 7 plus in IELTS and more than 79 in PTE, also boost their SAT scores. Okay. How? Through practical, psychological, and research based methods that actually work in real exams. All right, so that's me. Okay, guys, so let's talk about the problem holding you back. Okay, so most students repeat the same phrases over and over again. Okay, such as I like, I like, right? That's why they sound fluent but not impressive. Okay, can you say I think? Yes, you can, of course. But the key here is sounding impressive. So the examiner, of course, hears these immediately, right? Understands this immediately. I told you once, right, in my previous lives, that this is actually what uh, makes the whole difference when it comes to band 6 and band 7 plus, right? So, guys, the big truth is this is really important. Fluency isn't about big words or perfect grammar, okay? So, it's about learning smart structures that native speakers use naturally, okay? And again, as I said once, you don't need to know all of the, my goodness, native speakers expressions, right? But yeah, if you know, let's say 5 different expressions, you can ace your test and get 7 plus band surely. All right. So the secret to band 7 plus is not fancy vocab, as well as I mentioned before. It's all about the structure. Okay, as you can see, especially in the IELTS test, if you noticed, you will see that even in the test there aren't lots of fancy words. Actually, the vocab is simple, not crazy synonyms, but everything is all about structure. Okay, so if you can structure your sentence properly, if you can build your sentence, so this matters more than the words in it. Okay, so wait a sec. So today we'll be talking about three power structures. All right. And if you master these three structures, the examiner instantly notices a higher level of control, coherence, and naturalness. All right. So what are those three structures? So today we'll be talking about I'd rather express preferences naturally and confidently in any speaking situation. So you may keep in mind saying I'd rather instead of I prefer, I like this and that, or I think this is better than that. So instead of these basic structures, just try to recall I'd rather. Okay? Another important expression would be neither nor. This expression, this structure, actually handles negative comparisons like a native speaker with sophistication. Okay, so instead of saying yes, me too, especially the famous me too, right? That in fact, me too is not correct. Okay, when you want to agree with a negative sentence, you will see here in the examples. So instead of saying, yes, me too, yeah, this is the same, or whatever it is, you may bring about this structure to handle those negative comparisons. Neither nor. The third one, also very important, whether or. These structure, guys, organize complex ideas clearly without showing advanced while showing advanced thinking skills. So it shows that you're able to structure your sentences in an advanced way. All right. So keep in mind, I'd rather, neither nor, whether or. Just the, just these three powerful structures. All right. So let's talk about that. Let's dive in into these guys. So we have the structure one, I'd rather. So let's go. I'd rather, guys, is how native speakers express preference quickly, naturally, and confidently. No hesitation, no filler words. All right. So how it goes. I'd rather, right, works in this structure here. Of course, guys, this is so also of paramount importance. When you learn different structures and different expressions, you need to know exactly how to use them. Okay? I mean, grammatically speaking. So, I'd rather plus the base verb. Okay? Then the preference noun. Or you can say, I would rather this and that than that. This is a direct comparison. All right. So let's go over the real exam examples. So, for example, the person asks you, do you prefer studying in the morning or at night? It happens, right? Because it's perfect. This structure is perfect for part one, right? When they ask about habits, choices, free time, or routine. Also, let's talk about part three, right? It helps you show deeper thinking, preference with justification, okay? So a sign of clear and mature reasoning in part three, okay? So before actually I totally spaced, I want to ask you a question before we start to discuss here this real exam example. So please drop in the chat. What would you say? Complete your sentence. I'd rather something than something else. What would you say? Let's see your answers. I'd rather something than something else. Tell me about your preferences. All right, so now let's talk about the real examples. Do you prefer studying in the morning or at night? So you may say, I'd rather study at night because I feel more focused. Focused. Okay, so I'd rather study at night because I feel more focused, right? Look, and also you give an answer. So to complete that sentence I asked you to complete, you could say, I'd rather study at night than in the morning, right? But of course, if the examiner asks you a question like that, you can know, right? You must bring about the reason why. So I'd rather study at night because I feel more focused. Instead of I prefer studying at night. In my opinion, studying at night it's better. Or I think studying at night it's see, instead of all of these things, you just come up with I'd rather. Another question, this would be related to part 3. Do people prefer online courses or face-to-face classes? Of course, this is about your opinion. So how would you answer this? An example of answer would be, I'd rather attend face-to-face classes because interaction is stronger. See, again, you come up with the reason why you prefer, right, that situation. So instead of saying, I prefer attending face-to-face classes, in my opinion, face-to-face classes is better. See, instead of saying that, you just come up with, I'd rather attend face-to-face classes because of this, because of that, and you give your reason. Remember, guys, I'd rather plus base verb. All right? So this structure makes you sound decisive and confident. Okay? These are key traits for band C++. And of course, rules related, you know all of them. You don't need like 10 different rules from all the rather, right? Then 10 different ways to express this. Yes. So if you do that, probably be confused. But that 100 use R plus base verb form, all the rather, blah, blah, blah. Then just so that you are able to come up with this structure and deliver an advanced level answer, of course. All right? Okay. So now, let's move on. Let's go to the structure number 2, neither nor, okay? Guys, we have neither plus the helping verb that says, neither do I, right? It's when a person asks you a question, says something like that. The person says, I don't like tea. So instead of saying me too, you just say, neither do I, okay? This is actually the correct way to answer this, right? To agree with a negative statement. Neither do I. But today we'll be focusing on number 2 and number 3. That's neither nor or neither of them to answer IELTS questions. So neither nor says two negative options, okay? You have two negative options and you compare these options. Also, neither of them, these are the exactly two choices being rejected. And pay attention, guys, neither of them works for two choices, not more than two. All right? So again, neither nor, two negative options being compared. Neither of them, exactly two choices being rejected. All right? So let's take a look at the examples. Do young people prefer working in offices or remotely? Of course, again, this is about your opinion. So, how would you say? Neither offices nor remote work are perfect. Both have pros and cons. See, neither this nor that. Both have pros and cons. Another example. Do you prefer watching movies at home or at the cinema? Neither of them is perfect. See, neither of them. You are actually rejecting these two choices. But then, of course, you need to answer the question and come up with arguments. So you could say, but the cinema is more exciting. And then present your reasons. Here, neither offices nor remote work are perfect. You could say both have pros and cons, and then, of course, present the pros and cons. For instance, the pros. Additionally, these and that. Then the cons, right? And then your conclusion. But these two structures actually change completely your game. All right? These structures are really powerful. Let's talk about which parts, okay? In which parts can you use this in the IELTS test? So part one, you can use to disagree politely, okay? For example, if the examiner interacts with you. Also, you can perhaps build a natural conversation, all right? But when it comes to part three, this is powerful, okay? Because it shows complexity and balanced reasoning, all right? So for part three, this structure is really powerful, okay? When, for instance, neither of them works when the question gives you exactly two options, okay? So when you may come across this kind of questions in the IELTS test. So when it comes exactly, when the answers, sorry, when the question gives you exactly two options, you can use neither of them, right? Neither or nor is powerful to use in part three to show complexity and balanced reasoning. Okay, while this first rule, neither plus the helping verb, would say actually it helps you to disagree politely, right? If the examiner says something, or to build a natural conversation. Okay, so guys, now tell me, drop this answer in the chat, please. I don't like if I tell you that, hey, I don't like noisy places. So what do you say? How do you answer these using neither? Please drop your answers in the chat. I don't like noisy places. All right, so how do you say? I'll check the chat and the comment sections after the live, okay, guys? All right, so let's jump into the part whether, right? The structure number three. whether, or. Actually, I love this structure. It's one of my favorites. So, guys, why is this structure so important? So, this structure shows the examiner you can organize contrasting ideas smoothly. So, this is very band 7 plus. All right. He instantly make your answer sound more mature, cohesive and analytical. Okay. So that's why it's so important. And it fits beautifully in topics like work, education, technology, and society. Okay. So let's try this one before we go over the examples. Whether I live abroad or in my country, what would you say? Whether I live abroad or in my country, drop your answers there. So let's talk about the formula. Whether plus choice one plus or plus choice two. Simple like that, guys. Just simple like that. So you use this structure for contrast and organized thinking. This is the formula. So for example, in part two, the person asks you, describe a job you'd like in the future. So you may start to talk using this structure. Whether I work in an office or from home, I want a flexible schedule. That's the job you would like in the future with a flexible schedule. So if you go to part three example, right, you would see something like, do students learn better online or at school? Of course, again, this question is about your opinion. So you could say, whether students study online or at school, motivation is essential, right? It means your argument to be discussed will be related to motivation. So why motivation is essential, right, for students, whether they study online or at school. All right. So this is a very, very powerful structure to use in the IELTS test. So, guys, these three structures we've seen, let's recall them. We talked about I'd rather, right? We talked about neither nor, neither of them. And also, we talked about these whether or. So, guys, keep in mind these three simple structures alone boost your grammar range and accuracy, okay? Even if, listen to me, even if your vocab is simple. As you could see, could observe, while structuring these sentences, we didn't use crazy words or hard synonyms. No, the vocab was simple. But the key is knowing exactly how to use these structures correctly. All right? This is key for a band 7 plus in the IELTS test. Also TOEFL, all right? So, uh, moving forward. Why these structures transform your score? Okay, let's keep this in mind and take your notes right now. So, guys, you express your ideas clearly, okay? So you're able to articulate complex opinions without hesitation or repetition. So you avoid saying all of these guys, I think, I believe, oh, in my opinion. So you just go directly to the point. So when you use these structures, you also react naturally, guys, because it's like the native speakers. That's how they say, that's why they speak. So you respond to unexpected questions with confidence and fluency. So you show off confidence and fluency. That's what the examiners want from you. Also, of course, you sound confident, right? So project band 7 sophistication in every answer you give. Sophistication is the key word here. And of course, guys, you know how to organize ideas, okay? So you structure your thoughts logically for higher coherency scores, okay? So what's the catch? So the catch is you learned today 3 advanced structures, okay, to use while answering your questions. So guys, grab some questions from the past IELTS tests on the internet and try to answer, try to give your first sentence using these expressions, okay? So there are tons of questions on the internet. You can find them. So that's what you're going to do. You just answer them using these expressions. So, for example, one question you answer using the rather, I would rather, another question you use whether, and it goes on. Practice, 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 and practice. Okay? So, the truth is, students who master these structures typically jump, guys, 1 point band plus in speaking within weeks. Okay? So, you can actually do that. There is a very interesting information I would like to share with you today related to these structures. Okay, this is the very, very common mistake among students. So, what happens is students wait to be fluent before using advanced structures. I don't know why. Maybe they are afraid of using those, they are not confident enough. Okay, but that's actually the real problem, right? You don't need to be advanced to start to use some advanced structures, such as those, because those structures are simple, right? So if you understand how to use them in a sentence, use them in a certain context, you're more than able to bring about sentences with them. It's just about practicing. That's what I said before. Just grab some questions and try to answer your questions using these structures. See? Come up with one single sentence, and that's okay. That's how everything starts. All right? So, what happens is without these structures, these important structures, what happens is the students normally repeat the same simple sentences. All of your answers are the same. And then what happens? Panic. Students just panic when faced with complex questions. And not to mention, they stuck at 6, 5.5, 6, or 6.5, despite knowing vocab. They know some vocab, but they are not able to boost their score because of this, because of just the lack of some important structures. So again, guys, as I've been telling you like a broken record, you don't need perfect English to ace these tests. What you need is the right structure and strategy. And believe me, we're not talking about 100 words, 100 different structures. No, we're talking about 5 powerful structures for your test, 5 powerful words to talk about daily routines, to answer daily questions, for example, part 1, part 2. 5 different structures to give your opinion about something. So you don't need lots of things. What you need is the correct structure, and really, you need to know how to use them, and that's okay. All right? So, now let's go to these guys. Let's jump to this practice, and that's correction here. So I want you, please, to think about these, okay? You're going to share with me as well. You can drop your answers in the comment section or in the chat. So you gotta correct these mistakes, okay? Of course, using the rules we learned here. I'd rather than, neither nor neither of them, or whether, blah, 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 or. So look at these, guys, these sentences. Take a look at them. The first sentence is, I prefer study alone. There were some questions once about this, studying alone or in a group, something like this in the test. Uh, Another answer would be, I don't like working from home and at office. I don't like tea and coffee as well. These are wrong. I think students can learn online and face to face. So, guys, tell me, how would you correct these four sentences using the rules we've seen today? I'd rather, neither, and whether. I want to know. Take your time. You may also screenshot here and then give me your answer later on as you wish. So I want to know the corrections. Also, I would like you to please complete the sentences here, all right, about yourself. I'd rather than, because, and then you may complete this idea as well. Whether I live in or I. So how would you say, how would you correct these guys here, and how would you complete these guys? So take your time. After this live, okay, guys, I'm going to share with you the answers here, all right? The answers for these questions. I'm going to share these answers also in our comment section, right? That's what I want to say. So let's go to the answers. So for the first one, guys, how would you say? Look, the best way to say that answer, I prefer studying alone, instead, you could say, I'd rather study alone because, again, you got to come up with your reason, right? So I'd rather study alone because I concentrate better. See? Perfect. That's what I wanted to do, okay, while practicing the IELTS speaking questions. So the second one was, I don't like working from home and at office, right? At office. So you could say, neither working in an office nor working from home is perfect. This is your opinion. Neither work in an office nor working from home is perfect. Okay, this would be great. Now, instead of saying, I don't like tea and coffee as well, this is actually pretty wrong, I would say. So neither of them. I prefer juice. Right? So that's great. This is a great answer. Neither of them. Which one do you prefer? Tea or coffee? Neither of them. I prefer juice. And finally, right, we have this example. I think students can learn online and face to face. You could say, Whether students study online or in school, they need motivation, right? So you bring about also a sentence with more arguments, and you can structure your ideas much better. All right? Okay. So, guys, this is actually our live, and I hope I could help you with these tips. So, but question is, are you really ready to upgrade your speaking once for all? So if you want to do that, what you have to do is just subscribe to the Score Boost Formula, my channel, okay? Every Friday I give lives here with simple tips. So follow me on LinkedIn, please. Okay, there also I give some IELTS tips and PTE and SAT. And if you were ready, really ready for this, book your trial lesson. Okay, so you can get personalized feedback and custom study plan. And for those, for the participants here, you have some live bonuses. Speaking structure pack. Okay, what is this? 20 native structures with examples. The Speaking Confidence Challenge, 3 days intensive practice program. 10 model band 7 answers. So you're going to see how to answer, right? Band 7 plus answers here. In a trial lesson priority access, okay? So if you want to receive these bonuses, just drop me a line there in the comment section. You can just say speaking below and I will send you all of these bonuses, okay? So if you are interested in having lessons and understanding how these lessons work, you can also DM me, IELTS, okay? So then we can start talk about these guys, all right? Again, if you have any questions, guys, please just drop me a line in our comment section. And I gotta tell you something before we finish our section here. Look, your speaking doesn't improve with more English, okay? It improves with the right structures, and now you have them, okay? So, guys, see you next Friday. Bye bye.